Welcome back to Wook Plus. I am Weekend Wook, joined once again by Kev the Great Went. Kev, tonight was a phenomenal fucking show. Holy shit. I'm just going to list off a bunch of things that I love, and then I want to get your take on it. Uh, the filming, the shots were incredible. They listened to us. The music was incredible. The song selection, the theme, the visuals right out of the gate. Everything about tonight I was 100% on board with. Fucking A. Awesome show. What'd you think?
They definitely hit a triple, if not a home run, but I'll have to go back and check it again.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty damn close to a perfect show. I mean, there were a couple of spots where I was like, questionable, but compared to a lot of other nights and just I don't know. You know what? I'm really high on this. I'm very high on this night, and I'm not gonna be
Oh
apologetic
no,
for it.
I feel like they truly realized the full potential of what the Sphere could be with this tonight. Whereas last night was almost like a live rehearsal. It was like the soft opening, maybe, you know?
Yeah, or like I don't know why they chose to do the first set last night the way they did with the visuals. And I will just point out, I wasn't going to say this, but I will because we do this thing and we get critical sometimes. Obviously, it's meant from a place of love, but like a lot of people were getting really sensitive and defensive online and being like, "You can't be critical of the band. How dare you criticize the art form that they're producing?" I was like, because we love it. And if you have two back-to-back nights where it's such a substantial improvement, I think that kind of says like, hey, maybe there is something to the criticism. Not that I
Oh yeah,
didn't
no,
enjoy last
nobody.
night. It was
I
phenomenal,
don't think
but you know.
right. You don't want anybody we don't want anybody to think we're pooping on any of it, but if we didn't love the band, we wouldn't do this.
Oh yeah. No, I know. And last night was good. Tonight, I think visuals, I think they really stepped it up. Let's get into the first set. We could go through this as we normally do.
All right. Now,
As
my
we
question
normally
to you off the top is we
Yes.
talked about this in the member break, but a lot of people didn't see that. What do you make of the playing the song going into the song
I like it.
to open the show?
Yeah. The distilled version of the song, right? Like, I think it's like a similar chord progression. It's in the same key. It gives you a hint. I mean, not that it was hard, but like it was very satisfying to hear a couple notes and be like, "Oh, they're opening with free." It's like it gives you that little challenge, and it. I didn't know what they were doing yesterday, so it was like in hindsight, with everything's right, it was like very obvious. But like tonight, the second they turned and you heard it, I was like. That said, I don't think that works outside of the Sphere. It's a cool little gimmick
Right.
for this type of venue, but then I think they gotta kind of let it go,
You don't
maybe.
want to. You don't want to see this every night on summer tour.
No, but honestly, I have a thing where like sometimes Trey will like grab a chord or like put his fingers and you can hear just like the overtones of the chord. And it's really funny because you could like call the song sometimes and people around you that don't like hear it be like, how the fuck did you call it? Just from like that, a couple of notes. But no, I think it works just for the Sphere.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like right off once they hit that power chord to open and they flooded the whole wall with all those colors pouring
The
down that they were
psychedelic
like
waterfall, there was just like
it made a statement. It made a statement that I don't know, to me at least, I was like, okay, this is going to be different than last night.
Yeah. At least the first set. I think yesterday the second set got there where I think everybody was expecting it to. And I was worried that that was by design, that it was like, how like the lights are a little more reserved typically in the first set, but it was cool to see them just go for it right out of the gate. I thought Free musically was solid. I don't think they really did too much extra with it, but it was very
Free is
comfortable
always 10 minutes. Free is either 10 or 11 minutes. It's
every
what
single
it is.
time. And it's
Unless
a
you're in
great
Blossom.
choice because it's a hard, it's a song that they're very comfortable with and it can land and lock in instantly, right? And I think yesterday it took a couple of songs for the nerves to go away and to get locked in. I thought tonight, right away, instantly, they were very comfortable. Um, and then of course you have a free opener. What do you have next? You have the Moma in the 2 spot, but If they're gonna
There are
have a
very
predictable thing, then I would like it to be that. I mean, I'm fine with it. It's a great.
right. I feel like very few things are predictable in the Fish world, but I mean,
That's
I
become
don't
one
know
of
the
them.
statistics, but I feel like a lot of times if Free opens, that next song is going to be the Moma, and it's what you were looking for. You wanted the psychedelic dance party.
Yeah, and they really gave it to me. And I thought Free and Moma was a great way, right up my alley with that. Pretty much after this, you got every other call for the rest of the night, but I was happy to get that one there. I want to talk
Right.
about
And
this Axilla though. This,
right. This is when I knew I was like water, liquid, something, because when they did pool, I was like, all right, this has to be. And
yeah, I think it
yeah,
was
but
probably Mercy that it was really solidified for me. I was thinking
I
it
am
by
water.
Axilla, but yeah, but then Mercy, you're like, okay, fuck yeah, obviously. This Axilla jam was holy shit. What a fucking
Mm,
I love when they jam the extension. And I know you're
mhm,
not crazy about the part two lyrics, but I don't know what you call the tag. I just call it the extension. But
mm,
jamming out the extension like that is just such a great move and really
mhm.
elevates that song. Without that, I mean, it's just like a rocker, right? And it's a
Well,
almost kind of throwaway.
I like that. Like I say, I want the 1.5, but as I told you earlier, I've come to a sort of zen, a kind of peace with that we have Axilla 2 now. And if we're going to have 12 minutes of a jam that's just psychedelic, loud, you know, disjointed, I've decided I want to call it disjointed Dixieland because it sounds like Dixieland jazz where everyone's playing something different, but it's in
Oh,
this
like the
evil,
melt.
dark. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the extension in Axel had more of it was more epic than the full. You know what I mean? I definitely agree with you on the melt. I think it was maybe a combination of that with a little bit of more gravitas, but even the return on it was really good. I think the returns all night they kind of nailed. Um, you know what? I have
Mhm.
something to admit. Mercy, I fucking like this song now. It's so weird because I was like, I distinctly remember not being a fan of this song and like kind of being frustrated every time they played it. And then tonight I was like, wow, I really, really like this song. Absolutely beautiful. The vocals were like nailed it. Trey hit the notes perfectly. The intonation, everything just hit so well. And it was very musical and balanced. And I think maybe that's the audio, right? Like having the super clean, stripped down audio
Yeah.
and being able to hear everything so nicely really, really worked for this Mercy. I don't
The
know if I'll
visuals
still
work
like it
too.
when they go to a shed, but for now, I'm a big fan.
Right. The visuals. I think the visuals are did a lot. Went a long way for this.
For
You
Mercy,
know. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. It definitely helped, and I mean, it was a very cool. This was the one that was just like the water, right? Like the big
Mm,
oceany water with the birds, or were they fish? Were they flying fish or birds? I don't know. There were some sort of winged
I would
creatures.
assume that they would be fish
They
at
looked
this
like birds,
juncture.
though. They looked like birds. Hmm. Who knows? Maybe the chat knows. But yeah, I also thought the timing of this was really, really nice. I'm buying back into the ballad in the middle of the set. Yeah, it was birds. See, I'm buying back into the ballad. There's been a lot of ballads, the past couple tours that just kind of derail the set or kill the momentum and don't really work as their intended role. But this, we had a very nice start to the show, a beautiful rendition of Mercy, and then it got right back into it with Jen. So I'm all about that.
A fantastic almost 45-minute run to close the set.
Yeah, you talking about Jin on?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what about those visuals, man, with the tubers and then they kind of like meld into colors and it became dynamic too. We were talking about that on the lot earlier where I was a little bit frustrated that the screensaver effects weren't dynamic with the music and that's another thing that they adjusted and fixed tonight. Everything felt very locked in and tight. The visualization matched the music and the movement of the songs.
Yes, yeah, it was. It seems like somebody decided to plug the soundboard into the graphics equalizer or whatever it is that
Yeah.
makes it, because they were sometimes when they would hit certain chords in the music and things would change. I noticed it a lot in Split Open, but let's talk about this Jin though. I mean,
Okay.
Jin is just. I'm thinking about the fish bracket, right? Watching
Mhm.
this and how Fluff had won, and it was a clunker, according to a lot of accounts last night. And then this Jin was once again just perfect.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. But it goes back to like the Tweezer Yem argument, right? Jin is a very easy song to play. Like if you're starting a Fish cover band, it's probably one of the first songs you're going to learn because all four people can pick it up really easily. Whereas Fluffhead is an extremely difficult and complicated song. So like I would never expect Fish to flub Jin. That said, if you value jam vehicles over the compositions, then I think Jin wins every time.
Hands down, right?
Hands down. I thought there's two notable things about this specific gin. There was the builds, the speed up that Fish was leading, where it was actually a pretty rapid increase. Usually he does that a lot, but a lot of times it's more reserved and they build it up slowly over a long period of time. This thing was huffing and puffing after,
Shot out of the rocket.
yeah, just going. And then the other thing was when they brought it back to the top, which I had alluded to earlier, instead of just playing it straight, like exactly like it sounds at the top, they were doing a polyrhythmic thing where in particular Trey and Fish were going back and forth between like swinging it and playing it straight and doing it syncopated and then doing it kind of like a shuffle, and like they kept switching off doing like a triplet pattern with the 16 pattern, and it extended it too, so it served the purpose of bringing back the original theme without just doing the boring, like, you know, dun, 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 like it
There's
made it a lot
Jason.
more interesting.
There's
Hey,
Jason.
Jason. We were giving you a lot of props earlier, Jason. Somebody was asking about the lot theme, right? It was the
And
lot theme
he,
they're
he
asking about?
comes in top rope.
Yeah. We were
All right.
giving you
Now,
credit.
I feel like this the theme may be the song that I'm going to go back and be like, this is what all the possibilities of the sphere are, because that the wide shot of them on the bottom of the ocean playing, it was too perfect. It was, some people might be going cheesy with it. I say it was too perfect.
No, that was phenomenal. I mean, yeah, maybe somebody's calling it cheesy, but I with the sun's like looking underwater and the giant seaweeds, and yeah, I thought that was probably my favorite visuals yet. Here, I got a picture of that. I
Nice.
don't have as many as I did yesterday, but I think this is one that's worth taking
Captures
a
the
look at.
spirit.
Yeah. I just really liked this with
Dun,
the
dun, dun.
and all the fish swimming around. And
Yeah,
the cool
the
thing
light.
was they were animated so awesome because like a lot of times, like if you see like animated fish, they just kind of move in like a straight line, but you could feel the movement, the current in the water because they did like the seaweed would had a kind of shift with the current, and the
Like a
fishes,
school does.
right, it
Right.
moved with the current of the water. And yeah, this was really excellent animation, I thought. I don't know, maybe it was real. Maybe they actually put a camera down and got like filmed schools of fish, because either that or I don't know. But I
They
liked
have
it.
there are places where mermen and mermaids exist swimming around like this.
Oh, did they turn into mermen?
Yeah, they were men. They were like little men and women. They were human. I didn't think they were not anatomically correct on any in any way, but they had legs
Yeah.
and arms. They were not fish.
Well, eventually they were fish to begin. They turned into
Were they?
humans. Yeah, they started as fish. Come on,
Okay.
man.
So
Eh,
did the birds turn into fish and then the fish turn into humans? Because that would be cool.
Oh, a whole evolved thing. Only backwards, right?
Mhm.
It's fish into birds into human. Anyway. Uh no. Yeah,
Yeah.
and jam wise, so like you're right. The visuals I think were really what was super special about this. But again, another very rhythmically interesting jam. I think that they were very much tight and playing as a very tight unit tonight. Where as I think they were kind of missing that yesterday. They were taking bigger risks and manipulating the rhythms a lot more tonight, which for me that's like my favorite type of jamming. So I think it worked really well.
Yeah, I was happy with the theme from the bottom. I have no complaints. I feel like since the 22 April one during the fake New Year's set, it's really, taken on a bigger role. It's got a few minutes
Theme?
added to it. Yeah.
Yeah. When did they do that swanky one? That was last summer when they did it
They
like
did one, and then one before it. They did two last summer.
yeah. Hey, we'll talk about the themes. We have some good updates on that. We'll talk about the
At
themes at
halftime,
that
but
break. Yeah, halftime.
let's
Let's
knock
talk
this
about Melt.
split out.
All right.
I mean, that's the one I was waiting for. I think it's the one everyone was waiting for, and it's exactly what I imagined Split Open and Melt would look like at the Spear, with just the weird thing opening up and everything melting down, and then they were hitting it with the pulse with the dun dun dun. The
Yeah.
things went in time with it.
The sound waves were perpetrate or moving through that whatever that was, that gashy circle looking thing.
Yeah.
Um, the visuals fucking great. The deconstruction, like the beginning of the jam and how they deconstructed it was really great. I was actually super pleased with how far and dark they were going into the deconstruction. My only slight critique or whatever you would call it is that the build back up was not very patient. It almost felt like they looked at the clock and they were like, oh shit, we got to get out of here, and
Right.
then they built it up very, very quickly.
Right. So the guy on the side of the stage was like, "Dinner's ready."
Yeah, exactly. So I would say the deconstruction A plus, the reconstruction maybe like a B minus. It was still fun. I mean, it was tight and it sounded good. It's just in order to really get the full potential out of Melt, I think you gotta do the slower where they're just doing their own thing and build and the done and then eventually get to that point. But I mean that's
It,
pretty
it's one of
hypercritical.
it's one of those cases of it's a wealth of good melts. There's a melt everywhere that's so good that even when one's fantastic, you can still be like, could have been more because we've seen it go to the highest heights. But I
Yeah.
mean, for this, I would take that any day of the week and twice on Sunday.
And a melt with those visuals is special too. I mean, if you were in the room, especially looking at that, you'll never forget that. I mean, that was one of those moments. All right, cool. First housekeeping, then theory time. Uh, Simple. Come before the shows for the lot. Join, become members, and hang out with us at separate. Hang out with us afterwards. 15 minutes after
Wait,
Encore for the after shows.
wait,
Wait,
wait.
what? Wait, what?
You're announcing that we're doing the lot now because these were secret, I thought.
They weren't secret. They just were non-committal. But we've done 3 of them and they've been fun as shit. So yeah, I think it's probably safe to say we're gonna do it. And then if we don't, no, we will. I think we will.
We'll
Um,
be there.
and then Wookiee Awards Wednesday. I think 9. We're gonna do it to keep it consistent with when Live usually is. So there'll be no Live this
Yeah.
Wednesday night, but we will have the Wookiee Awards. Very exciting. You might win an award. Uh,
Oh
maybe.
wow. And on the 20 every Sunday at 10 a.m. we do something too. But this month on the 28th, we have Lou Favor from God Street Wine coming on. So you probably want to wake up early Sunday, grab a cup of coffee, and check it out.
Yeah. Okay, now theory time. So before the second set, like when we first figured out it was water, and at the halftime, I was at the set break, I was convinced that it was elements, right? Because it was like earth yesterday, water today. And then somewhere in the middle of the second set, something started. You could feel it going through like Facebook and Reddit and Twitter. And there were a lot of people that all of a sudden started talking about this idea of the 4 spheres. And it was one of those theories that once you read it, any other version of the theme that you were thinking that was maybe adjacent or close doesn't fit quite as well as this. So I'm just going to read like the Google Wikipedia definition of it, but basically there's 4 spheres. There's subsystems that make up the Earth, and it's the geosphere, which is the actual rock and planet Earth, the hydrosphere, which was
Dirt
tonight.
last night.
Right, last night was the geosphere, tonight was the hydrosphere, the water. Then there's the atmosphere, right? That's easy, gas. And then there's the biosphere. And 2 reasons I like this. One, I like this more because it's fucking spheres and there's 4 of them and it's Earth and it's obvious. But then 2, I think it works better with their catalog because if you're doing elements, you're like, what is it, fire? Or if
The
you're doing what
pla-
you were saying with the states of matter, it's like plasma.
Solid, liquid, right? Solid, liquid, gas, and plasma. And you're like, they got plasma. That's it.
They got one song, and then you threw it back. I mean, you're like, what's fire? They got fuego and like fire, and then, but like if you do biosphere, they could do fucking. They have tons of songs about
all the
like
animals. We'll get
all
another
the
animal
animals.
show.
That's gonna be an insane show, and the same thing with the gases. We were really hitting a bunch of well, I say the chat was coming up with all sorts of gas songs.
Air songs, right?
Yeah, air songs like Wingsuit and Divided Sky. You'll get tomorrow. So I'm pretty confident that is likely the theme is the subsystems of the Earth, the geosphere, the hydrosphere, the atmosphere, and the biosphere. So anyway, I love that theory.
Making doing a pick 5 tomorrow interesting because you don't know which one you're going to get, whether it's the bio or the.
I like that order that it was listed in, though. I think atmosphere and then biosphere makes the most sense.
Oh, right, the atmosphere.
Atmosphere. Yeah, NO2. Yeah, exactly. NO2. What were the other ones we were saying? It was Wingsuit, Divided Sky, NO2, Steam. You might get
Birds of a feather.
Birds of a feather. Although birds might go in the biosphere now.
Oh, right. But like tonight, when we get to set 2 in a second, Wave of Hope, they fly and they are in the water.
All right, hydrogen, and that was right, Brian, because that's why we got Lifeboy in the
When
groove.
was the last solo hydrogen without a mics? My God, that had to be back in the 80s.
I know. This is so fun, isn't it? Fucking great. All right. Let's get into the set that you pretty much predicted almost perfectly. No lies. So, like, if you weren't in the set break gang, Kev just came on random. He's like, I want What's the Use? And I think they're going to play Wave of Hope and Ruby Waves. He was like, literally like that. And I was like, and then the first 3 songs I messaged you, I was like, are you cheating? Like, did you have the set list? What the fuck? I mean, I guess like it makes sense.
The What's the Use I mentioned that I thought would be fantastic. And you were like, yeah, I don't want to go to sleep.
I was worried about it, but it was beautiful. And I was way pumped up based, from everything else that we got tonight. It ended up working out.
Let me just kick it off with Wave of Hope saying that it is a great rock and roll rhythm. And when Paige hits the piano, the boogie woogie little piano part on it, it's I really, really love the song. I think that it's just so great. And I feel like I don't think it's going to get song. I remember how I was saying it was going to be the one that everyone was going to talk about. I don't know about that after they've played it now because of the next 2 nights. It's not like it was 30 minutes and broke new ground, but
yeah, I don't know that it was even my highlight of tonight. It was certainly good. I think it was a great jam, but I don't know. I keep going back to that Gin and the Axilla. I think the first set overall maybe worked a little bit better for me, but it was a very nice jam, a nice big Wave of Hope jam.
I had another favorite 19 minutes in this set.
Yeah. What was that?
A song I heard the Ocean singing to Prince Caspian.
Oh, that was so good too. Yeah, that might have been up there.
What's the Use though? They did the What's the Use. The graphics were fantastic. I love that they chose the instrumental. It got the call up,
Yeah, and the delicateness and the quietness with the controlled audio was so cool, right? It was just one of those things that it was like they really understanding the technology and taking advantage of it and using it in like creative ways.
And it sounded like it really did get silent. Can you imagine being in there That must have been so cool to be standing there because it was. Didn't they bring all the lights down? I don't think anything was running. They came to that point in the music and it got kind of like really dark.
Yeah, and everybody was locked in. I mean, that's a cool thing about this venue too. I feel like you can't help but be locked into the what's going on, right? It's like very hard to ignore it. But yeah, it was cool. The Ruby Waves I thought was pretty solid. Um
What happened to Ruby Waves, man? What happened to it? It used to be a reliable 20-minute, 20-plus-minute jam vehicle. Last few, they're getting down to 13, 11. The one at New Year's was what, 6? I don't even think they finished the lyrics.
Yeah, but the New Year's one was a different situation. That was because they were trying to get
I
into
think
the.
Trey's bored with it. I think Trey's getting bored with it, which is a good thing.
No, I don't know though. I think 13 minutes can still make a good jam. I don't think you need to have the 20
Oh,
plus every
yeah.
time.
Oh.
I think, there was a lot of jamming tonight and it just wasn't work. It just, there was nothing else there. But what we got out of it, I really liked. I know we're kind of flying through this set, but the back half is, I think, what the part of it that I
Mhm.
really loved. Lonely Trip. This was the one point of the set that kind of lost me, admittedly, I think I was pretty damn tired. I hadn't gotten a lot of sleep. Uh, but I don't know. Do you like that song? I've not been able to warm up to it. Unlike
Um,
Mercy earlier, this one I just still can't get on board with.
every time they started, I think they're gonna play this song called "Slip Away" by Clarence Carter, and no, I'm not that big a fan of it. Good for them. It was the Mercy. It was like you said in the first set with Mercy. They did a big, you did the opening segment, you played Mercy, you do the closing segment. And I think they did the Lonely Trip. Everyone took a breath, and then they really leaned into it, I feel like.
Yeah. Um, a song I heard the ocean sing. I decided I'm not going to dwell on my dislike of Lonely Trip, and we're going to move on and stay positive because this
Mm.
tonight was just a fantastic night. Once again, so we had the lanterns yesterday. Now we had the jellyfish tonight. So I guess they have some rigging up there, and they're like, "Hey, let's take advantage of this." I'll be curious to see what they lift up tomorrow.
Oh,
Uh,
air. Maybe we'll get balloons, like
or
hot air
like hot
balloons.
air
That would
balloons.
be
Yeah, that
cool.
would be cool. For sure. But the visuals on this were very, very cool. The oceanscape filled up progressively. It started off with just some jellyfish, and then by the end of the song, it was like fully loaded. I really, really dug it. Also, very cool jam. I think I always really appreciate that jam. I think
I
that's
look
one that doesn't get a
forward
lot of
to
love, but
I look forward to getting a song I heard the ocean sing. I would take that over a lot of other songs because of that potential. And you know where I like my jams to go, a little bit dark, a little bit dirty, and
yeah, for sure. This is Tom Marshall's picture. You know that guy.
nice. Look at that. That is just
That looks
wow.
that looks like AI generated,
Uh-huh.
like it's not real. I mean, it's not real. It's on a screen, but like even this part, like the real part of
Yeah.
it doesn't look real. It's
Right. The
crazy.
band, everything. It looks like it is underwater.
Yeah. And the
Fantastic.
lead up and segue into Caspian with the visuals of Caspian with the water pool down here and the arches was
Right.
was perfect. I mean,
Now, did you see any mermaids?
I don't know. I don't
I
think so.
was I was really looking for a mermaid because obviously that's what the song's about is a mermaid.
Is it?
Yeah, he's tied to the mast. He talks about the mast. Remember the Odyssey? Ulysses is tied to the mast so he can listen to the sirens singing while the rest of the crew has to cover their ears to steer the ship so it doesn't crash.
Oh. See, I never pay attention to the words, so I have no idea.
That's another reason I love the song. It has this great, I mean, for me, I don't know this. I've never read Trey say that or anybody else, but it seems pretty obvious if you know the story. Anyway, then they ended up in Caspian, and I was like, everybody's going to be pants in this and pants in that. And you guys picked the totally right song and nailed it. These two like went hand in hand, like two vowels when they go walking.
Yeah, and I think well, actually, I'll share the visuals on that too. I
That
think
was so neat. That was
so
so neat.
cool. I love this too, where they extend the floor on the visual to give more depth to the room because it's not a very deep room once you get to the
Right.
pit, right? But it just makes it feel so much bigger. Um, yeah, and I think Caspian was what it was always supposed to be tonight. It was like a bigger, more grandiose song. It
Mhm.
wasn't super extended, right? Like 8 minutes, but had a really nice feel to it. I think it
It
was
was perfect.
served its purpose really well.
Right. As a 19-minute piece there, since there are two other 19-minute pieces working, I feel like it was very successful.
Yeah. This is insane. Like, honestly, these visuals are insane. And I know there's going to be defenders
They
of
didn't hit
last
this
night.
last night. I
They
feel
did
like
not
the
come
Mike
close to
song,
this last night.
yeah. The Mike song looked almost like a pastoral painting from like the 1900s
I
or
liked
something.
I know you hated that. I liked the kinematic
I hate's a strong word. Hate's a
sculpture.
strong word,
All
but
right. You were not high on it. I liked
no,
it,
but
but
this completely makes sense, I guess, is
right.
what I'm going for.
It does. I mean, it's
Yeah.
hard to compare. It really is. I saw somebody mention, I don't remember who did it, but oh, here it is. That was another thing, like the color matching, like of the lights and the stage with the screen is like perfect. It was the same thing with the other one too. Really ties it all together, and you know, it's like blending, right? It blends it into the rest of the
You gotta
crowd.
send me the link to that. I think I'm gonna make that my, picture for my background for my
Your
computer.
desktop, yeah.
Yeah.
This is Tom Marshall's picture.
Oh, I'm gonna steal Tom's picture. Thanks, Tom. Love you.
I tweeted at him. I was like, "Hey, I'm going to use your shit
Uh,
on the after show." Didn't get back to me.
ri right now, I'm sporting the Tree of Life from Loki when he turned into the Tree of Life
Oh,
because I
nice.
think that's a real powerful picture.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Then you used to
Yeah,
have
so
Wanda.
yeah. I did have Wanda for a long time, but that's a whole nother story.
Uh,
The yam, I wanted the yam, and
we
it
got
was
the
fantastic. I really like what they did. I really like the end of it. It was like, what's the craziest, dumbest thing we can do with these visuals? And
I feel like I'm gonna go down like a wild speculation and guessing, but they were like getting with the creative team, like, what do you want to do for the vocal jam? I don't know. Let's listen to it. Why don't you guys do a vocal jam? And in the vocal jam, they made a slurpy sound. And some artist or creative or technical was like, oh, what was that slurping sound? Let's get a dog slurping. And then they like really leaned into it. I don't know. Maybe it was the opposite. Maybe they just randomly picked a dog and that's why they added that. I loved it too visually. I thought it was funny as shit. Not a big slurping sound fan. Kind of skeeved me the fuck out because I listen to these with the headphones too, and like it's like right in my ear, just like that slurpy, like I'm like, nope, didn't need that. But what did you think about the car wash
I
before
love
the
the
vocal
car
jam?
wash. I mean, the car wash, if
The car
I'll take
wash.
that any day of the week over the cars from yesterday.
Yeah, it was a very cool effect. Because it gives you a couple of things with the suds and everything. Like you have the colors changing, like the pink tones and the purple, and then you can like go bright and light and like clear it out. Uh, and I guess it's the whole washu frenzy, like you
You
know,
know, car wash you frenzy.
yeah, uh, yeah. I was very happy with it. I thought the whole thing was
Yeah.
awesome.
I'm
No
sad that
complaints.
we got a period of like 4 or 5 yems that had the second jam out of it when they were appearing like in the beginning or middle of sets. That I think we've gone back to yem is going to be a set closer with a vocal jam.
You're sad that it's going back to the closer. Yeah,
Right.
me
Yeah.
too. Because I really liked that little renaissance that it had been going through with the after jam.
The first wave of hope was attached to the first time they did the jam out of yem. They went
Yeah,
ended up
I
in Wave
remember
of
that.
Hope with that.
What was that?
Deer Creek
Deer
or
Creek.
something.
Yeah, yeah,
Yep.
yeah. I remember that. That was awesome. Uh, I don't know. Hopefully that's not the case, but this was a very unique, special circumstance. So I don't know. And then we had the encore waiting. I think a lot of people were calling that. It made a lot of sense with the theme. The whole memoriam thing was a little odd, but also kind of sweet. I guess it depends where you were at mentally. But I mean, it was
I
cool
liked.
seeing
I
all the
thought it was
pictures.
just I felt like it was a celebration of their lives together.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I did too when I saw it and I was digging it, and then I went on the stupid interwebs and I saw a bunch of people bitching about it being a memoriam, and then I started thinking of it like that. And then I was like, kind of like
Somebody has to die for you to in memoriam.
I know. But I think it's like the whole I don't know. I liked
And
it.
unless Trey's watching us and we're gonna jarro him.
That's cool looking. This is cool. This
Yeah.
is emotional too, right? Like this
Uh-huh.
evokes a lot of emotions.
Well, everybody always thinks of isn't this the one that Paige broke down and cried at Coventry singing?
Yeah.
Yeah, there
Yeah.
you go, T Hall. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, and then
A
the
lot of
hood.
emotions.
Yay with the hood.
Right? Did you
Little
know
different
that? I didn't
graphic,
think we were getting a hood right then. That's fucking awesome.
little different graphics for each part. They kind of morphed a little bit between each one, which was neat. They were again embracing the different sections of the music.
Right? More dynamic. So I'm all about these 4 spheres for the themes, but I did notice a cool parallel between the 2 shows, and I'm wondering if they're going to keep this because yesterday they had Antelope, which is a big, you know, closer, and they had the particles, and it was very much like atoms and things. And then tonight with Hood, which is another big of that same flavor, it looked like the particles, but connected with like waves, right? And so like it would be neat. You know, I don't know if this will be a through line, but tomorrow to do another song in that flavor, but maybe make it
Now,
like a
is
net.
tomorrow air? Is tomorrow air?
Yeah, so maybe like Divided Sky would fit that
No, no, the encore will be slave because a
slave.
traffic light hangs up in the air.
Slave is more appropriate for that flavor for sure.
You know we're
Uh,
gonna get one, and it's gonna be gorgeous.
it always is. I mean, it always is.
I say they stick to the like full washes of the screen and things like that, and the color changing and the patterns. Um, I think that they really nailed it tonight with that. I don't know. Last night, I guess it was first night jitters, like you were saying.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it was. I don't. So there, I have 2 thoughts of it. One is like the jitters and the nerves of it, but it's also a lot of new things. It's a new stage setup. It's a new room, right? It's all new technology with a whole new production, and like I think it was just finding it. And actually, and with that in that context, it's kind of amazing how quickly they did find it because it wasn't even. I wouldn't even say it was tonight. I would say halfway through yesterday they found it, and then tonight was just the benefit of starting off strong. Yeah, Kev has
Right.
a very awesome accent. What is that? It's like a Baltimore slash Philly slash Delaware, mostly Baltimore accent. I love
Oh, I live in Baltimore.
Washington. Washington? Is it a
I
Washington
live in
accent?
Baltimore. I live in Baltimore. Yes, I
I
do.
don't even hear it anymore. I remember when we first met, I was like all I could hear. Now it's like I talk to you every day. It's like I don't even know. It's like whoop.
Right.
All
One
right.
note on Hood when CK5 flashed the lights at the end.
Mhm.
I think the screens overwhelmed it. I don't think it had the same effect as it normally does.
Yeah, and you know it's interesting. I'm really digging this whole sphere thing, and I'm glad they're doing it. But there were a couple of times so far in the first 2 nights where I missed the light rig and the big, you know, like that aspect of it. And I don't think, and not that they ever would. Like obviously they're gonna have that be the bread and butter. But like I think the next time I see the light rig, I'm gonna be feel very like welcome home type of thing. You know what I mean? Like, oh, it's good to be back. Like that was cool to watch this for a couple days, but I really, really do
And
love.
also they have stuff covering them. It's almost like they're naked. They don't have all the stuff around them built on the stage and then above them. Almost like they're in a little cubby with the
Yeah,
truss over top and all the gear around them, you know?
yeah, I love that when they bring it down low. When did they switch to the new rig? That was 19, 18, 17, 17, 18,
I
somewhere around
thought
there.
after COVID, but yeah, I guess. Yeah.
I don't know. Whenever they did, I remember the first time it came super, super fucking low. And like it scared the shit out of me because the previous rig didn't do that. Like didn't come all the way down there. And I was
Right.
just like, astonished. I was so incredibly like, it was like, this is perfect. This needs to be, because before that they'd done so many different iterations. CK5 with like the LED panels, and even the rings before that, and all these different things. And it was like they were flirting with it, but like that last rig that could like come down and have the individual manipulations, I was like, this is the perfect rig. And I miss it. I do. But this is cool. This sphere is cool. This is all very cool. All right. Any final thoughts, Kev, before we get out of here? It's like 3:40 in the morning.
I'm going to be thinking lots about air between now and the lot tomorrow.
Yeah, that's what we're thinking, right? We're thinking the atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Balloons.
Balloons.
It's all about balloons. So tomorrow night, 10 o'clock, if you're bored before the show starts, 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific, we will be going live and doing the lot. And then members halftime hang, and afterwards we'll be back here again. So please join us. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Oh, and if you're watching this after, leave us a comment. I love getting the comments. Let us know what you thought about tonight's show. All right. Peace, guys.